Boom, hey internets. What is a budget setup for a clothing brand? We're gonna detail the answer right now. Jon Phenom, clothing brand mentor. I've been working professionally in fashion and apparel development for over 24 years. So last week, a subscriber DM'd me and asked me what was my budget setup for a clothing brand. Now, besides professionally working at brands, I'm uniquely very qualified to answer this since I just launched non-beta at the very end of 2022. And if you've seen any of my last videos of this past year, you know that I talk about it in detail. Now, first let me say there's a couple routes you could go in setting up your production, because production is gonna be where most of your money is spent. And before I jump into that, let me just say any of these clickbait videos that tell you you can start or launch a brand for under $100, that is pretty much false. At some point you're gonna run out of money and you need way more than $100 to get proof of concept. You need several $1,000s. And so a bookmark of money that I've been using recently is like $5,000. You should be able to have that much money to put into it. Could you start lower? Yes. For me to feel comfortable, I would want a running start of maybe that much money. But having said that, whatever your budget is, this is going to be my same answer for you. And before I get to that, there's 3 different ways you can actually attack production. Number 1 is the traditional way of using screen printing. Now, screen printing is something you probably will have to use at some point, because if you get a lot of orders, like hundreds and hundreds of orders, that's still something that I think you might want to outsource if someone is outfitted for that. And as long as you shop around for someone who gives good quality and good work, you should still have really healthy margins. The second thing I want to mention is POD, or product on demand. Some people might say print on demand, but since those product ranges go into sublimation and DTF and a lot of other ways, they say product on demand. And that route would be using Printful or Printify, or one of the other hundreds of companies that handle production from the order and ship to your client. And the last thing I'm gonna mention is the way that I do it and what I'm recommending for anyone that's starting a brand on a budget, which is to purchase 2 heat presses and have that suffice as your in-house screen printing shop, so to speak. Now, the 2 presses that I own are from Heat Press Nation, and it's my main one that's 16 by 20, and my hat press. Now, these 2 aren't cheap pieces of equipment, but they're worth their money. And if this all went bad, these retain their value very well, so you would be able to resell it at a great price. But what you get for these 2 machines, and using transfers, I like to use Supercolor, but any other transfer company or DTF, which stands for direct to film, any of the companies that get your artwork to a transferable film allow you to have the power of production. So I do all of my main designs, just like this t-shirt here, will be done on the main press, and that's good for crews and hoodies, sweatpants, and fleece shorts. All of those can be done with the main press. And for the hat press, besides using it for hats, I like to use that for P&L or printed neck labels on the back of each t-shirt. So whenever my wholesale blanks come in, my team gets to work on putting the size labels on every single shirt, and then that set of inventory is non-beta branded and ready to go. But since that t-shirt isn't committed to one-to-one design the way you would with screen printing, my stock of blanks, whether it's t-shirts or hoodies, are all available for designs to get printed on once they are purchased on my Shopify. And almost at any stage where you're at, that's the route I would go. That's the route where I have gone, and the way I'm doing production right now as you're watching this. So while it is a big investment of money up front, I completely believe you're gonna save money in the long term, but also what you gain is the power of controlling your production. It's very easy to operate a heat press, and so I can easily outsource that work. And then eventually, as some of these categories get bigger in orders, I can always outsource to a bigger screen printing facility. Anyways, that's my answer, and not only am I saying it, I'm doing it and using it. Those links are also below with a couple other helpful links that might be helpful if you're at this part of your journey. You got specific questions, you could drop them below, or you could email me here. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.